Welcome to New Day Cleveland. I'm David Moss, and we're hitting the road once again, and this time we're headed south of Cleveland all the way across the border into the state of Kentucky. You talk about Kentucky, well, there's a couple things that come to mind right away. I think of bourbon and I think of horses. Two great cities, Lexington and Louisville. And guess what? We're going to visit both of those things and talk about both of the above, bourbon and horses. Okay, you see those horses out there? So what do you think they're worth? It's pretty hard to tell. One could be worth $100 or could be worth $100,000. I'll tell you where they know what a horse is worth. It's called Keeneland, at the Keeneland sale. Well, I have to say that Lexington is a beautiful, beautiful place. They call it, what, the horse capital of the world?
It is. It's the thoroughbred capital of the world, and I think you're seeing behind us why that's the case.
And we're at the auction.
We are. We're at the Keeneland September yearling sale, and it's the largest sale of its kind in the world.
In the world.
And over the course of 2 weeks, we're going to sell about 4,000 yearlings. And what a yearling is, it's a horse that turns 1 year old.
I was going to say, why are they so small?
Well, they're yearlings, and one thing that's interesting about all thoroughbreds is that, believe it or not, they have a birthday the same day. All have a birthday on January 1st. So typically the gestation time for a horse is 11 months and 11 days. What you want is for your foal to be born somewhere right after the beginning of January, and probably no later than May.
So he starts to get big.
Right, you want to have a little bit of an advantage there.
So I see guys walking around with little pencils and papers and following the horses around. What's going on there?
What they're doing is they're inspecting the horses. And to put it into perspective, what they're doing today, imagine if you were trying to find the next, I won't say LeBron James because we're in Cleveland. I'll say the next Michael Jordan.
There you go.
And what you're doing, you're looking at them as if they're a sixth grader, but you're not actually getting to watch them play basketball. It's like they're walking. So you're looking for the next big superstar by the way they walk. Right, what I call our September yearling sale. It's the equivalent of the NBA draft.
I understand there's some dollars involved here too.
Oh yeah, it's high stakes commerce. And what's interesting is that sometimes the horses that bring the most money go on and do great things. For instance, a few years ago, we sold a horse named Fusaichi Pegasus for $4 million. He did go on to win the Derby, and he was syndicated for millions of dollars as a stud. But we've also sold a horse called Real Quiet for $17,000, who also went on to win the Kentucky Derby.
So there's a lot of knowledge here, huh?
There is, and so what you're doing
luck.
is you're looking for horses that are conformed well and have great pedigree and know how to run.
I understand this dates back to during the war, 1943. This first started, and that horse was a horse that cost $10,000 then.
Did, yes, and went on to win the Kentucky Derby. Hoop Jr., first of 18 Kentucky Derby winners. But it was almost an accident that Keeneland got into the sales business, if you will, because the horses used to ship by rail to Saratoga, New York. But during World War II, there was a ban on rail transportation. So, being enterprising folks that we are, we pitched a tent in the paddock and had our first yearling sale in 1943, and we've been doing it ever since.
It's a magnificent place, and to think that this is the world capital of auctions for yearlings, it's pretty amazing, isn't it? So they come from Saudi Arabia? I mean,
we do.
Everywhere.
We have, over the course of the September and November sales here, we will sell to people from nearly every state and 49 countries. I've always said Keeneland is to the thoroughbred world what Wall Street is to the financial world. It's where it takes place. It's the heart of the commerce.
Wow, that's terrific.
Thank you.
Unbelievable.
Right.
So I'm going to motor around Lexington. I imagine there's a lot of things to see here, huh?
There are. In addition, if you're a horse fan, you can see just about anything, but there's a lot of other great things to see here. You can go to home of Henry Clay over at Ashland. We've got great hotels and dining. I think that's one thing Lexington's really getting known for is its great hotels and dining atmosphere.
And some really smart people, too. How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this for 13 years.
13 years. So why don't you have a horse?
I'm not allowed.
Because you're too smart.
No. Don't ask me about handicapping. I can't help you there.
Can't handicap. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Up next, we'll learn how some of Kentucky's finest bourbon is made. Welcome back to New Day Cleveland. I think Amy, is that a barrel up there?
It is. There's lots of barrels up there.
Look at that building. How old is that building, you think?
That building was built in about 1881.
1881. Well, folks, welcome back to New Day, Cleveland. That's right. This road trip to Lexington made me sneak out of town a little bit. I'm in Frankfort, right up the road, because I'm at one of the biggest distilleries in the country.
We have 130 acres here. Buffalo Trace Distillery in Frankfort, Kentucky. We have 130 acres, and we have about 114 buildings on these 130 acres.
Wow. Where did the name Buffalo Trace come from?
Buffalo Trace came from the name of the buffalo crossing the path to get to the river, and they left their traces behind. So we named it after our
That's pretty funny.
buffalo. Yeah.
Okay, so this is just one of many buildings, and I noticed when I look around here, we got pipes in the air. So there's is there bourbon or vodka or something?
There's bourbon being piped in some of them, and there's also steam being piped into some of them because we steam heat our warehouses in the winter months. Because we found out that if the temperature goes below 45 degrees in the winter months, the bourbon just sits in the barrel and it doesn't age.
Wow.
So we kind of help Mother Nature along, so that way the bourbon is not dormant in there in the winter months and it gets really cold.
What smells in the air?
That is called the angel share. Yes.
I like
a lot
that.
of happy angels around here.
It smells like bourbon in the air. And how does it get out there?
It is the natural evaporation of the barrels. You lose about 8 to 9% of your barrel, the bourbon that you put in the barrel the first year, and then about 2 to 3% every year thereafter.
So look at this. We got black trees.
We do. That's mold.
Mold growing on the trees, growing on the buildings. So,
right. It's very common amongst distilleries.
I think the mold likes the bourbon too.
It does. It does. And actually, that's how they found moonshiners back in the day when Prohibition was going along. They would find moonshiners because they'd look for these trees that had the mold on them, and that was a pretty good clue. There was some moonshining going on.
Here it is. Okay, now here's an experience, folks. You're going to step into this building. There's a bunch of buildings just like this, but check this out.
Yeah.
So, Amy, is this where you pop out a straw right now and just go after it?
Yeah, we could do that, but it would be pretty strong right now to do that.
How many proof is it in here?
It's about 160 proof.
And this is
more.
bourbon?
It is. This is all bourbon here in this warehouse. We have a total. We have 12 warehouses on site. There's a total of about 200,000 barrels total property. There's probably about 25,000 in this particular warehouse we are in.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's millions of bottles of liquor here.
Yes, yes. If we stopped producing bourbon today, we would have enough to carry us for the next 25 years.
Oh my goodness. So how do you get it out of the barrels?
We dump it in an area called regauge, and they dump the barrel, and they separate the barrel from the char. The char is the black stuff that you get when you make the barrel. You'll char it, and you separate the two, and then you bottle the liquid stuff.
It's crazy. I saw barrels racing around there. The barrels go around unattended. They're just rolling down the tracks, huh?
Yeah, gravity is amazing.
That is great. And look at this. This must be the super stash because it's a little bottle, huh?
Yeah, these are part of our experimental collection. We have in different sizes. Here's some even smaller ones down here. And we actually were lucky enough that since we're a family-owned company, we can do experiments. We have about 1,500 experiments going on right now.
Ooh,
yeah, all kinds of stuff like Cabernet aging barrels, or Zinfandel barrels, or Mongolian oak, or all kinds of fun things. Yeah.
Hey, so when we go in like the visitor center and look at the liquor, how many different kinds of liquor is there? And what people get to go on the tour, they can see everything, but then they get to buy also, right?
Yes, and we make 14 different types of bourbon here, and we have four different recipes that we're using as well for our bourbons.
So when people see, how many kinds of different bottles of stuff can they? I mean, it's like big bottles, little bottles.
In our gift shop, we don't sell everything we make because we don't want to compete with the local liquor stores. But so we sell a limited supply in our gift shop. But we also sell a few things that we don't sell everywhere else. We sell here in the gift shop.
What about this? I heard you make organic vodka.
We do. It's called Rain. It's 100% organic.
Rain.
It's made from organic white corn from one farmer in Illinois, and we distill that here too. It's a Rain organic vodka. It's a very clean, crisp tasting vodka.
How many tours people come when they want to come to Buffalo Trace?
We have tours every day but Sunday. They're all complimentary. We tour about 65,000 people a year through here. Yeah.
And the big question is, do you get to taste?
We do get to taste. It's the best part of the job. And tours get to taste as well.
And my most worrisome question, is this like working in a candy store? After you work there 2 years, you don't like candy anymore?
Oh no. It always smells good.
It's still good.
Yeah, definitely.
Terrific. Coming up, we're continuing down the Bourbon Trail for some small batch Kentucky straight bourbon. Welcome back to New Day Cleveland. We're on the road in Lexington, Kentucky, and check it out here, folks. We've got something that could be moonshine, and Chris here at Woodford Reserve Distillery,
Look at that.
is the master behind the juice, right?
That's right.
So what is this in here?
This is actually the spirit coming off our first still. It's our beer still, and we're not making beer, we're making Woodford Reserve bourbon, so we have to distill the beer, the fermented grain, into a spirit.
Okay, so Woodford Reserve is all about making bourbon.
That's right.
That's bourbon. And this is the bourbon, I imagine, before it goes into a barrel, right?
That's it.
What's up with it? Are these big hookah pipes or what?
No, that's a still. That's a still. That's a copper pot still that was actually made specifically for Woodford Reserve in Scotland. We're the only bourbon distillery making bourbon in pot stills.
Wow. Somebody told me you're not only the oldest distillery and bourbon maker in Kentucky, but in the nation.
That's right. We are history from the ground up.
So this is where it cooks and then it condenses up here, huh?
That's right. Alcohol vapor rises. This is called the gooseneck. And as the vapor hits that vertical column, that's a condenser, which contains some jacketed water pipes, and that condenses it into that clear spirit we see running through the spirit safe.
Okay, this big old beautiful building here has been here forever, I imagine. And I saw some crazy vats up here. What's going on in the vats? Let's check
Those
that
are
out.
the fermenters. Now, when we were talking about the distiller's beer that we were distilling into that clear stream of spirit, this is where it's come from. We have some cypress fermenters, and they are bubbling away.
Boy, it smells different in here.
It's like a bakery in here. Look at this one.
Whoa! Look at all the bubbles in there.
This is fermentation in action.
Look at this old wood barrel, huh? So you guys don't make the barrels here anymore, but you bring a lot of barrels in, I bet.
Yes, we sure do. Now, this is corn, rye, and malted barley cooked with our limestone water. We've added our yeast, and the yeast is converting the sugars that we've obtained from cooking our grain into alcohol.
Wow.
And at the end of a week, this will be a beer that's going to go into that distillery.
Into the cookers.
Yes.
So this is what the moonshiners were making out in the woods there a long time ago, huh?
Well, a long time ago, yes. This is the real deal today.
Hey, so what about the age of the bourbon? How do you do that?
Well, that clear spirit has to go into a new, charred on the inside oak barrel that qualifies bourbon whiskey.
Let's go see those.
Let's take a look at that.
Okay, let's do that. So is this the little railroad for the tourists to go around the
It's not a railroad for tourists, it's a railroad for bourbon barrels. These barrels were just filled with our clear spirit, and they're going to actually roll down. You ever wonder where the term roll out the barrels comes from? They're going to roll right down this rail and into one of our warehouses.
How many years you been doing it like this?
Since the 1930s.
Okay, so we're going to go see some old barrels
Let's
now.
see where they're rolling.
Oh, this is cooler than I
Isn't this
imagined.
great? This is one of our warehouses, the
One, two,
maturation warehouse.
6, 7, 8. It's like 12-story or 12 shelves.
12 tiers of barrels.
Wow. And you could smell it in here.
That's called the angel share. That's the evaporation of Woodford Reserve through the barrel. And who gets that wonderful aroma? Only the angels. So we're stealing a little bit of it right now.
Do you have to top off the barrels, go around?
We're
and do
not
that?
allowed to. Once the barrel is filled, it sits just as it is.
There's a guy working down here. What's he doing?
He is rolling barrels so we can put together a batch of Woodford Reserve.
So when we see a bottle, like, what do you sell it in, liters or fifths?
We have all sizes from the small airline bottle all the way up to the large 175.
Well, how many bottles would you say are in a barrel?
We're going to get approximately 200 bottles out of a barrel.
200 bottles in one barrel?
Yes.
How many bottles do they fill up here all day?
Well, this is a very slow bottling hall. We can fill 40 bottles a minute.
Wow.
That sounds like a lot, but it's not very much.
40 bottles a minute. Takes a lot longer to empty them.
Sure.
Okay, so now we're going to put a little in here, huh?
Let's get a little bit out there. Look at that. All right.
Jeez, oh man, that was unbelievable.
That's completely mature Woodford Reserve.
So this is barley,
Corn, rye, limestone water, and with a lot of wonderful oak character.
You know, this is beautiful. The whole place is beautiful. These big, beautiful buildings.
Thank you.
The visitor center, you know, you come here and buy some, right?
Yes.
Should I taste it?
Go right ahead.
Uh-oh.
Wow. Is that delicious?
It's delicious.
So that's what all the time and effort goes into making the world's best bourbon, Woodford Reserve.
Wow, that's terrific. Hey, thank you very much, Chris.
You're very welcome.
Love to
Glad
hear.
y'all could come.
From handcrafted bourbon to handcrafted cuisine, it's Jonathan at Gratz Park. Okay, we already know the Gratz Park Inn is a great place to stay, a beautiful boutique hotel, but how about a great restaurant inside that hotel? It's called Jonathan's, and check it out. Getting ready here for a big dinner. Some folks back here early dining, having some fun. Good dinner?
Great dinner.
Yeah, there you go. See, things are starting off pretty good here. You gotta love that. One sad thing today, but it's not gonna dampen our spirits. A little rain out on the patio today, but so what? Here's what I like. I like the bar, beautiful bar, great place. You can eat in the bar, and this is where we're gonna hit up Jonathan Lundy, the chef. And as promised, here's Jonathan over here sitting at the bar. How you doing, man?
Doing great. How you doing?
I think I saw your picture on a cookbook.
Yeah, it was a few years ago. But
It's
yeah.
pretty good. Where is it? Do you have that cookbook back there? Look at this, folks. Check this out. This guy, Johnson and Wales, right?
That's it.
That's right. That's a pretty good cooking school. Pretty good. So how's the cookbook doing?
We're doing pretty well with it. Probably got like 300 or 400 copies left, so we're winding down for sure.
That's great. So it says Bluegrass Table, and when I was reading about your restaurant, and I've read a lot about your restaurant, Jonathan Lundy, there he is right there. You're talking about refining the regional foods.
Yep.
So what does that mean exactly?
I'm just trying to take influences from other areas, other cuisines, and blend them with what I grew up with and what I'm most comfortable with, and kind of marry them all together.
Sounds good. So I see a salad here, and what's it, romaine?
First, what I have, it's a grilled Caesar salad.
Uh-huh.
And, it has crispy black-eyed peas and some roasted peppers, homemade Caesar dressing.
Black-eyed peas in there, so that would definitely be regional, right?
Yep, so just they're nice and crispy. You want to make sure you get one of those. Rub it down with the dressing, a quick grilling.
There was a dish I heard about also that was a polenta dish. Somebody was talking about this polenta dish when we were
Here-
at the racetrack.
Here we're working with grits, not polenta, but it's similar to a polenta. So we're going to take grits and cook them with pimento cheese, and then allow them to set and harden. And then at the time when you order them, we'll take them and flash fry them and crispy them up to grits.
Let's see what these look like for everybody. So what's the difference from polenta and grits?
Grits are made basically from ground hominy, and polenta is just ground corn. So they are similar, no question about it, but there's a little difference. Now here on the sauces, we have a fire roasted banana pepper mayonnaise
Oh boy,
and a green tomato piccoli.
no kidding. Pickles are big down here, aren't they?
They sure are.
I saw fried pickles places I went.
So this is my take on French fries and mayonnaise.
I should get another one hiding over there.
We
What's
sure
that?
do. Okay, this is a Berkshire pork belly, but what's different about it is we braised it in Ale8. You grab me an Ale8, Michelle?
Yeah.
Ale8's a local soda, ginger ale-like soda that's made here in Winchester, Kentucky.
Look at that, folks.
And we use that for the braising process, and then serve it with a ginger red chili iceberg slaw.
So this is like it's like bacon. If you've never had pork belly, I mean, some people hear pork belly, Cleveland, they don't know what's pork belly sometimes, but this is really something special, isn't it?
Yeah, it's you tell me. Yeah, I think it is.
It's special. It is great.
I like
It's
it a
got a
lot.
candy effect to it a little
sure
bit,
does.
doesn't it?
It's all yummy and fatty and just great.
People tell you they never see me eat on TV. I taste the stuff on TV, but I gotta tell you, I gotta have another bite of this stuff here. And I gotta tell folks too, here at the Gratz Park Inn, and also in this restaurant, Steve Martin stayed here, Sharon Stone's been here, Rachel Ray comes out and hangs out here, so that's pretty cool. And I see why. Maybe you want to check out his book, who knows? Jonathan Lundy, man, thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you all for stopping by.
Hey, we love it very much. Thank you very much for the food, and we're gonna head over to the Kentucky Horse Park. And they're off. Welcome back to New Day Cleveland on our special road trip to Lexington, Kentucky. And I hate to say we're saving the best for last, but man, this has been the biggest surprise for me. It's a place called Kentucky Horse Park. And it's almost like a theme park for people who love horses or people who want to discover horses and help us discover our way around here. I have Wes with me.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm great. I see Yankees here. This is like the Yankee Stadium for horses, isn't it, in a way?
That's a great way to put it. We're 1,200 acres of equine heaven, I think. So
I got to tell you something. There's so much going on here. Like, I heard there was a big world event here last year.
last year we hosted the World Equestrian Games, which is the Olympic Games for 8 different disciplines of equine sport. We had over 500,000 people here in a 2-week span, and it was just an outstanding event. Not only did we build for that, but the facilities we got from the World Games will put us in the front of equine competition for years to come.
Okay, and check this out too. You can come here, and if you have little kids and want to ride ponies, you can do that. If you want to ride horses, you can do that. You can pet horses, see horses, and here we have the Hall of Champions. These are past winners of great races, right?
We have 8 retired racing champions, from thoroughbreds to standardbreds, and even have a world champion racing quarter horse. From April and through the 1st of November, they're presented 3 times a day at our pavilion here, so you can get a close meeting with them up close and personal, take some photographs, and get a chance to see a couple Kentucky Derby winners and the great cigar, of course.
A crazy cool theme park. You gotta love Kentucky horse country. Well, I'll tell you what, we're gonna see a big city right now, Kentucky's largest city, Louisville. We're gonna jump in the car, 1 hour and 20 minutes down the road. It's the home of the Kentucky Derby, the Muhammad Ali Museum, and the Louisville Slugger. Okay, give me the fastball. Give me the fastball. Here I am at Louisville Slugger, man, and this is Mickey Mantle's bat. Can you believe that? And when you come up to this place here in Louisville, there's a giant baseball bat outside. It must be, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 stories tall. It's unbelievable. And just to help show us around, Anna's here. And Mickey Mantle's bat, it's unbelievable.
Yes, actually used by Mickey Mantle between 1961 and 1965. 35 inches, 32 ounces. The Mick himself used it, and we allow our guests to hold not only his bat, you can pick other bats as well. Cal Ripken Jr., game used, Johnny Bench, David Ortiz, to see what it's like to hold their actual bats.
Unbelievable. And you have to wear gloves. I said, well, I don't need gloves. I said, oh yeah, you can't touch that kind of stuff without gloves.
These are very special.
Not with the Moss Man hands. There's a bat over here that is so iconic. When I first saw it, it sort of makes your knees wobble if you're a baseball fan.
It is so true. This is one of our treasures, absolute treasures. The great Babe Ruth, okay? The Bambino. This bat he used during his 1927 season. If you look around the top of it, he carved a notch in this bat for every home run that he hit with this bat during that record.
Right around your label.
Yes, yes. Just like the old gunslingers of the West, carving his notch in there for every
broken bat.
Home run. Broken bat. He sent it back to us. Luckily, we kept it.
Wow.
Yes, we've kept it all these years, and it's a thrilling piece, really.
Who else is in here?
Well, we've got Babe Ruth waiting for us right here, don't we?
The Bambino himself.
And Ken Griffey Jr., the splendid splitter, Mr. Ted Williams, adoring his Louisville Slugger bat.
I guess when you hit a bunch of home runs or a bunch of hits, you do adore that bat.
That's right. You know, this is taken from an actual photo of Ted when he kissed his Louisville Slugger bat after he ended the season over 400 for his batting average.
Wow.
And then right next door here, we've got Joe DiMaggio, and again, a bat that he used during his amazing 56-game hitting streak that, a lot of folks say this is one record that just may never be broken.
I've been to Cooperstown. That's been a lot of fun. But I tell you something about this place, because I mean, this is something that you play with yourself all the time. You know, baseball bats.
We love the connection when people come here. The generations connect: grandparents, grandchildren, fathers, sons, mothers, daughters. Yes, it's a wonderful brand. Over here, I want to show you one of our other treasures. The big 3 as far as the bats go.
Hammer and Hank.
Hammer and Hank. He used this bat to hit his 700th home run. And it's one of our favorites, too. He was here not long ago, accepting our Living Legend Award, too.
Wow.
Great, great man.
So his bat started right back over there somewhere.
Well, right. We've been making bats for over 125 years. So our company has moved to a few different locations over the years. But we've never been more than, a few miles from this location.
So this is where the sawdust flies?
This is where the sawdust flies, yes. On our factory tour, you're going to walk right through the heart of the factory. You're not going to be separated by glass or on a catwalk. It's a real working factory, and you're going to smell the sawdust and
this is all
the bats.
Ash wood?
This, you know what? Ash and maple are the 2 main woods that are used for professional baseball bats.
It was interesting for me to learn that the man who originated this company didn't make bats and didn't even want to make bats. He made one for his
that's
kid.
one of my favorite stories. We are a family-owned business, and
Here we go.
we're a family-owned business. The Distillery family is on their 5th generation of ownership, and when the younger son wanted to start making baseball bats, his father didn't want anything to do with it. We'll stay inside the yellow lines here.
Oh, I can't go over there.
Yeah, this is the real deal. So it's a safety concern. We keep our
Here, grab me.
in the yellow lines.
So here they are, huh?
But yes, you're right that the father back in the 1880s wanted nothing to do with making baseball bats. He believed that the future of the company was a swinging butter churn, which was an important product for a long time, but we don't make butter churns anymore.
That's something.
So here, right over here, we've got someone demonstrating the old-fashioned way of making a baseball bat.
Right here.
This was how it looked when we used to make the bats by hand. Go ahead. Yeah, give us a demonstration, Bob. So these are the exact same tools that they would have used back in the 1880s when we made our first baseball bat in 1884. Now, if you do a bat by hand like this, it would take up to 30 minutes or so to make one baseball bat. Nowadays, with some of the technology you're going to see on the tour, it takes maybe 30, 40, 50, 60 seconds.
Hey, so when they put the label on the bat, it's got to be in a place where it's for the grain so the batter can tell which way to hold it?
That's right. Yeah, that's an actual, that's not just an old wives' tale. That's the real deal. I'll show you on a bat.
Let's go see one.
How that works. Sure.
I tell you, this is a great trip, and I tell you, folks should come down and check this out. And wow, look at this.
Yes. These are some of our key players. We've got their lumber ready to go so we can pull it quickly and put it on this machine right over here behind us. This is where all the pro bats are made, and it just so happens we got Jim Tomey on the lathe today for the Indians.
Wow.
If you look at a baseball bat that's made out of ash in particular, there's one side that comes down in points or V's. That's called the flat of the grain. That's where you put the branding, because it's the weakest part of the bat. So when they hold the bat, and you want to hold it so you can see it, that way when you come around, you're going to make contact with the strongest part of the bat. Yeah,
Look at you
there
go.
you go.
Okay, folks, Louisville Slugger, check it out. Great spot. Wow.
And everyone gets a mini bat at the end of the tour, too, a little souvenir mini bat when we're all done.
Oh, man, I love it.
Yeah, I've got one.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Coming up, handmade Happy Balls in historic Old Louisville. You never know what you're going to find on these wacky and wild road trips. And here in Louisville, in the historic district, I found up in this beautiful mansion there, up on the top floor, some folks that make candy. The craziest candy you ever saw in your life, but maybe the tastiest. It's called Happy Balls, and we're going to check it out. Okay, now this is a mansion, and they do it on the 3rd floor, so this is going to be an interesting walk. We're going to go up. I don't know if these Happy Balls really have oxygen in them because it's a long walk up. Look, I think this is what's inside these Happy Balls, and that's a big secret, but we're gonna find out what the secret is in here. Here we go. This is it. This is the Candy Master's room. Hey, Jane.
Hey.
Hey, Ron.
Hey. Hi. Welcome.
I like your crazy house, man.
Thank you.
It's very cool. So these are them. Huh? These are the Happy Balls.
Yes, they are.
And they've got nuts on top?
Yep, a whole pecan half on top, and there's a bourbon buttercream with pecans inside. Would you like one? Here, take one from the.
First I'm gonna go see where. I better see what's in these things for sure, because
okay.
I don't want to get tipsy. Here he is.
Howdy.
Hey, Ron, what you got going there?
Welcome to where the magic happens. Well, this is the last process. This is the 2 minutes. Doesn't really take 2 minutes to dip a Happy Ball, but we use 3 different aging processes. It takes a minimum of 56 hours and 2 minutes to make one.
Is this what makes your ball so happy?
You betcha. Now, 9-year-old 100 proof bourbon.
Okay, I've got to make a confession to the audience. I ran into some Happy Balls yesterday, and somebody made me taste one. And I got to tell you, they're fantastic, fabulous, delicious. And I said I want to send these out for gifts. So how do people buy them if they're in Cleveland and you're in Louisville?
Well, we're primarily on the World Wide Web. GetHappyBalls.com.
How did you get the name for Happy Balls?
That's my Aunt Happy on the box.
Aunt Happy.
She lived to be 94, and she told me, she said, you know, you've made me famous in my old age.
So
she loved it.
This is her recipe, her balls. That is great. You upgraded them?
Yeah, see, my aunt was a God-fearing woman, and she didn't believe in supporting the liquor industry, even though she made this candy. So she would buy the cheapest rot gut bourbon she could find, because she didn't want to give them any money. So we said, let's take it the other way, get the most expensive bourbon, get a nice high-end bourbon, and really, the better the bourbon, the better the ball.
Great. From the top of a mansion in old historic Louisville.
Help us replace a window, folks. Help us replace a window.
We're going to help replace Ron and change windows. Hey, thanks, guys.
Ready.
What is a hot brown? Well, guess what? We'll get a taste at the historic Brown Hotel. On the road, historic Louisville, I'm thinking the Brown Hotel. Now, this is one of the granddaddy great hotels. This is one of the most famous hotels in America. Look at this. Talk about big, huh? Well, that's how the whole place is. It is a wonderful, beautiful place. And to help us look around here a little bit, we're going to talk to the Director of Operations, Mark, down here. Look, he's manning the desk. What do you think of that?
Welcome
how do you
to the
do,
Brown
sir?
Hotel.
Hey, hey. I tell you, when you walk in here, this double lobby, what a beautiful place. It just sort of picks up your mood, doesn't it?
It really does. Our founder, J. Graham Brown, was a very well-traveled gentleman. Traveled extensively for Europe and wanted to give the look of a grand hotel and bring that here to Louisville, Kentucky.
He built this back in what, 1923?
1923.
He was in the lumber business, I read that, so he knew a little bit about building. And what I really like about this, not just all the beautiful, beautiful details in the architecture, but it's really wonderful how all the furniture fits in perfectly, because this is a hotel that went into demise for a while and then was reborn.
Absolutely. We're always faced with the challenge of giving that great period look to give people that feel that they're sweeping into a grand hotel that was built in 1923.
What do you think of the hotel?
Love it.
See? Love it. Loves the hotel. That's pretty good. You know what I like when I came in here? Hear the music, the vibe? Check out the piano player. He's there day and night. I still can't find this guy.
And the beauty is he never takes a break.
He never takes a break. That is fantastic. I was down here yesterday evening, and the feeling in the bar was terrific. They have beautiful bar food here. This is a famous place for food too, isn't it?
Very famous place for food. Our signature restaurant, the English Grill, known nationwide, sometimes worldwide, and of course there's another famous menu item here.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that and get into that in just a minute. But you were talking about the restaurant, and I heard it's been called the best restaurant in Louisville.
We believe it is.
Yeah, and that was by Wine Spectator, I believe. So
absolutely.
So that's great. I love this thing here too with the old grates, and there must have been a lot of work when they rebuilt the hotel or redid it.
An extensive amount of remodeling was done. There were crews on scaffolding on their backs, hand restoring the ceiling to its original grandeur. People ask us all the time about the gates over here. People ask us if the hotel was previously a bank. Actually, back in 1923, when you checked into a hotel, where the guests are checking in now on that marble slab was where the book was. If you remember from the old movies, they had the book.
You sign in.
You signed in. And over here at the teller windows is where you paid cash. There were no credit cards.
Oh, those were the days, huh?
Those were the days.
Those were the days. Well, it's a great old place, and I tell you what, when you come in here, you think of those days and relive some of those grand moments. Now, we were talking about that signature sandwich. What's it called?
The Hot Brown.
The Hot Brown. And when was it invented?
The Hot Brown was invented 85 years ago.
85 years ago. So guess what? We're going to see one right now that's a little fresher than that.
Well, first thing we got to start with a fresh breast of turkey that we roast. So we take this turkey breast, it's only the white meat we use.
I heard this was invented because they wanted to have like a late night sandwich after a big party here at the Brown.
Yeah, what happened is, you know, we all know that people enjoy drinking and the bourbon a little bit in the time, and they were drinking a lot of bourbon, and they wanted to make sure they had something strong and substantial to absorb all that bourbon. So when we're gonna do that with the turkey, you're gonna see the Mornay. You can't go wrong with that.
Okay, so this goes together fast, Tom, because they had to make a lot of these for these guys are all partying.
Oh
at night,
yeah.
huh?
So we're gonna do some Texas toast. We just cut it in half like this and trim it up. And we take one of them and we cut them in half, what we call the pointe. And we put some bread in the bottom. We take almost 7 ounces of turkey, crush them around, put the 2 toast point on this side.
It's a lot of turkey.
It's a lot of turkey. We take that hot brown, put it in the oven. We go over here first, and we're gonna put a little bit of that beautiful Mornay sauce, which a Mornay is a classical French sauce, which is made with bechamel and cheese a little bit, so it's very good and anything like that. And we're gonna put this right on top here.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh no, that's very rich. And we're gonna take this whole dish and put it in the oven.
Okay, so put that in the oven. Okay, when it comes out, what happens?
So when it comes out, it's a fabulous dish, you know.
So you put some bacon on it too, huh?
After that, we go and we're gonna finish it. We put a little bit bacon, some parsley, and some paprika.
Is that tomato
and we have
there?
Tomato there a little bit that we roast in. So it takes a whole process to roast all that.
That's great.
And it's just a wonderful dish.
And right now, talk about a knockout item. We're going over to the Muhammad Ali Museum. How about that? Welcome back to New Day Cleveland, our very special trip to Louisville, Kentucky. And boy, what says Louisville, Kentucky more than Muhammad Ali, his home, here at the Muhammad Ali Center with Jeannie, who is my guide today. Thank you very much.
Hi.
I gotta tell you, it's emotional. I've only been here a few minutes and it's an emotional place, isn't it?
It's a very emotional place, and visitors are surprised when they come through here.
Bicycle.
Bicycle. Bicycle symbolic of Ali's life. Because of a stolen bike, he started boxing.
Wow. And I tell you, there's a message everywhere you look. And so this is so much more than Muhammad Ali's boxing career.
Absolutely. In fact, the message of the whole Muhammad Ali Center is that we tell his life story. This is a place where his legacy is told, and we tell his legacy through the 6 values of his life. And those are confidence, conviction, dedication, respect, spirituality, and giving. And you see these as we're walking through the exhibits.
The exhibits are fantastic. And I just want to tell the people at home, we walked through a film, and we've only been here a few minutes, and I was laughing for a minute at some of the things he was saying and doing. I was amazed at times, and I saw tears appear in one of the young ladies traveling with us in her eyes watching the film.
And that's the beauty of Muhammad's life, is that he has so many pinnacles in his life, like so many things made him famous and endearing to people all over the world. And that's why we're here, to really tell people, educate people, especially kids, about his legacy, so that they know it in years to come. Now here we have conviction. This is a very vibrant exhibit, and I want to show you. Walk through here and see what happens.
It's like walking in.
What you doing in here? You know I can't serve you. Now leave.
That's a memory of an ugly past there.
Right. So here in this exhibit, we go through civil rights, and this actually happened to Muhammad Ali when he came back from Rome in 1960. He earned a gold medal for his country, and he was refused service in a restaurant in his hometown of Louisville because of his race. And you know, the legend goes that he took his medal and threw it in the Ohio River.
Whoa.
But we don't know. It's legend.
Isn't it something? Here's a man of worldwide capacity, and he demanded or insisted that his center be here in Louisville.
Yeah. Well, this is his hometown. This is where his circle of life began, and this is where it'll end someday. So I wanted to show you this.
Oh boy.
What does that remind you of?
Wow.
this is a robe that was made for Muhammad Ali by Elvis Presley's seamstress. He wanted a present to give to Muhammad, and actually they made a mistake. You see how it says People's Choice? It was supposed to say People's Champion. But Muhammad liked it anyway.
I guess so.
So in this area, this is all about his boxing career. We have every professional fight. His first one was in Louisville, actually 51 years ago.
I got you. I remember as a kid, 15 years old, listening to the Cassius Clay Sonny Liston fight in my mom's car because that was the best radio we had. You really have to come here to check this out.
Yeah, there's a lot to do, and I think it's surprising to visitors who come because it's not just about his boxing career. It's actually very emotional, as you said.
Yeah.
People laugh, people cry. There's interactivity, there's stuff for kids to learn.
And I also want to tell you that you never know who you'll meet here because I understand just several days ago, Muhammad Ali himself was here with Lonnie.
Yes, he was here a couple weeks ago. And he comes in a lot. You know, visitors might pick a lucky day because he comes unannounced usually, and he loves interacting with the guests.
Okay, well this is my lucky day here, and I got to tell you folks, Muhammad Ali Center, a great, great spot. Our final stop in Louisville meant a stroll down the urban Bourbon Trail. I've got this passport, check it out. And this passport is for the Urban Bourbon Trail. So I looked it up and I go, oh, Bourbon's Bistro. I like the way it sounds. Bourbon's Bistro on the Urban Bourbon Trail. You gotta love that. So I met Jason over here. Hey, Jay.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you, sir. And look at this wall of bourbon right here. So we're on the Urban Bourbon Trail, huh?
We are. We've got about 130 bourbons, and we do flights of bourbon. So you can get a little taste of something you might not see anywhere else.
What's a good little first taste of something up there? What would be a good idea to try?
Let's pull you on here. We can. This is our normal flight. We'll do 3 different flights with 3 different bourbons.
You talk about flights. Will this make you fly?
It can if you get some of the higher proof bourbons. So what we're going to start with is a little bit of Pappy Van Winkle 12-year.
Pappy Van Winkle. I heard about this guy's name when I was at Buffalo Trace. Somebody told me he sold Maker Mark or gave Maker's Mark the recipe.
Oh, you know, there's some controversy between there. Everybody has their own little story about it.
Yeah.
I don't really like to get involved too much with it. They both make wonderful bourbons.
Pappy Van Winkle. You hear that name though? That's crazy,
do,
huh?
It is.
That's
and
crazy
this is
cool.
4 Roses. They're a small batch.
I'm going to try a little taste of this one.
And then we're going to go with, this is Old Forester Birthday Bourbon.
My grandpa liked Old Forester.
It comes out every year for the birthday of George Garvin Brown. One of the first people, one of the first men to put bourbon in a bottle, so you knew what you were getting.
Wow. I tell you, there's a story for everything, right?
There is a story.
And what's that smell I smell over here?
Oh, we've got...
this place smells great, man. It smells, you know that smell you get in a steakhouse? Oh my goodness. And look at this.
This is one of our signature dishes. This is
what's going on with this?
Our pork chop. It's stuffed with chorizo and mozzarella.
Let me put some candles around this baby, man. Make it look like a birthday cake. Look at that. It's got chorizo in it?
It does. And it's finished in a red wine bacon sauce.
Oh my goodness. So you have that first and then this, or then that?
I usually have them both at the same time. I do a little sipping all the way through dinner.
I like the way you roll.
Anytime after breakfast is good.
Look at this guy. This one's one claw off.
Yeah, this is another signature dish of ours. It's our lobster grilled cheese.
Lobster grilled cheese. Wow.
It's finished with a pesto.
We got lobster in there.
3 different cheeses. Yes.
What's on the top there?
That's the cheeses. That's all the cheeses.
Oh my goodness, that looks pretty good. And this is an appetizer.
It is. It is an appetizer. Any of the flights they usually start at about $10, $12. It can run all the way up to in the hundreds of dollars, depending on what type of bourbon you get.
And I got to tell you suit down here with Jason at Bourbon's Bistro, you're going to get a story for every little drink here. And I think that's the coolest thing about being on the Bourbon Trail, right?
You know, there is such a big history surrounding bourbon, and we're real proud of it here.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty of reasons to jump in the car, drive 5 hours south through Columbus, down through Cincinnati, over the border and into Kentucky, and check out the Bourbon Trail a little bit. And you have to admit, Churchill Downs, pretty special place, home of the Kentucky Derby. You can get a tour there, of course. And Louisville Slugger, I like that a lot. You know, my boys play baseball, and the biggest slugger of all, Muhammad Ali, that museum was perhaps the biggest surprise of the trip. Big surprises out there for all of you if you give it a try. The Bourbon Trail, Louisville, Lexington, a lot of fun. I'm David Moss, and I'll see you on the next New Day Cleveland.